Guys, do you have what it takes to help your baby? Now, what does that mean? First of all, number one, you have to be able to help your baby medically. Now, for some of you, medically, what? That's great. You can go on to step number two. But for number one, your first plan of action is that your number one plan of action is that your child can breathe and be medically successful. Medically successful. You have to remember that to a hospital, sending your baby home alive is a successful birth, right? And I know none of you are looking at medical complications, but if you are, that's the first thing that you satisfy with your child of any age. Are they medically okay, right? You want to keep that successful. I have a very complex child who has medical procedures every week. But again, his meds work. He is medically stable, right? And it could be, I work with a lot of kiddos on trachs, and things like that, or, brain tumors and all of that. I'm not saying that's where you are, and I'm not here to scare you, but that is your first plan of action. It's always medical. You have a medical bag ready and all of that kind of thing, right? And that's where, again, where I come into play. I help you with your plan of action. Now, the second thing is, are they on target with their development? Okay, whether they are or they aren't, right? Are they on target? Okay, when you just asked me, I have a child that's globally delayed. They're not on target. As long as you're working on their plan of action to create something today they couldn't do yesterday, right? You're working on their plan of action for development, for their milestone momentum. That's what you're working on, right? I get it. There's complications from birth traumas. There's complications from genetics. There's complications of maybe just, your child spent time in the NICU, all of those kind of things. These can happen to your child, right? But as long as you're working on their movement milestones, their milestone momentum is going to happen. It might not happen at the same course of action that you expected it to, but again, this is part of your plan of action. Do you know what a milestone is? I get, I can't put my child on tummy time because they don't like it. You don't have dislikes at 1 month old. Your child can't do it. They feel like they're drowning. They might feel like they can't breathe. They might have reflux. There might be lots of different reasons why they can't do mild tummy time. But if they're disliking it for a reason. It's threatening to them. It's not a movement. Movements aren't threatening, right? So again, your plan of action is that. Your plan of action also needs to be on what type of baby you have. Do you have a stiff baby, a floppy baby, or a typical baby? Learning about how your baby is ready to respond to stimuli, right? That's where you go. You take my free course, Newborn Movement Assessment. You get my new baby book. It'll be out next week for early intervention, development, and warning signs, right? It's the first of its kind where it's going to show month by month development, but month by month warnings, right? You do not want your child on the warning side, but if you are, that's your plan of action. How to get them off that list. Because how many warnings do you need, right? Are you willing to live with? You shouldn't be living with any, right? And so getting the responses, are you getting responses for people that don't have a plan of action? Oh, my baby they're fine. They don't know how to evaluate your child, and they're giving you advice based off of your child, based off of their child, or their situation, or their memories, right? You need a plan of action for your child. So whether it's for just typical development, great. Start with the tummy time course, go into the rolling over course, start where you're at, seeing if you're doing it right, or more so your baby's doing it right. The greatest gift you can give your baby is movement. But to get movement, for you to offer movement, you need a plan of action. And if you don't have a plan of action, right, you can't just wake up every day with your child and go, I have no idea what I'm going to do today. And sometimes you're just like that. I get it. But even today, right now, it's 9 o'clock and I'm going home and I'm going to have a plan of action. Are we going to the gym today? Are we going bowling? There's certain, we're a family of movement. So movement's got to be included in our daily activities. And so that will be the plan. Yes, I'll get some feedback because I haven't been home in 3 weeks, and we'll see what he wants to spend with mommy. But then it might be a movie, or it might be going out to doing something things, or it might be going for a swim. And if it's a passive movement or something like that, I always make sure there's a good movement in with it. That's my plan of action. Of course, I've got to feed my kids and doing all that kind of thing. It doesn't matter if they're 20 years old, if they're 2, but the plan of action is there, right? The whole reason you're working with your child and you're seeing all the stuff I have to offer, right? Because for everything you have a question for, you're getting an answer. But now what you really need is, what is your plan? What are you working on? So I want to hear below, put in your comments, what's your plan? But I also want your comments. Hey, I don't have a plan for this. What do I do? Right? Because that's why you're here, is to get help. That's the whole brilliance of YouTube, right? Everything here is how to. If you need help with something, that's why you're coming here to YouTube. And that's why I'm here, because I'm a helper, and that's what I want to do, is help you. So do you have what it takes to help your child today? Then that means yes, because you have a plan of action. So if you don't have a plan of action, that's going to be your first start, is a plan. I'm not talking, bullet points, sticky notes, and all that kind of stuff. It could be something that's just simple, that we're just going to eat and have a bath today, right? And that's what we work on, especially for postpartum. Parents are struggling sometimes, you know what I mean? But even if finances are low, really, for baby, all you need is a blanket and a baby. You don't need all the gizmos, right? Or just some grass or some whatever, even just some snow, water, whatever. There's some really simple things that you can do, but the greatest gift you can give your child is movement. So first plan of action on that list needs to be movement. Thanks.